So, hello everyone. Nadezhda Solnechnaya is with you. And for those who don't know me, I will introduce myself. I am a person with unblocked ability since childhood. I have deep empathy, as well as a unique gift of vision of a subtle plan that allows me to read information about the past, future, as well as about people and events. I was asked in a telegram. More precisely, I did it because I received offers in a personal message to see what's going on with the Crocus. In principle, I covered this event a little in a telegram. AO showed it and told briefly what I think about it. But nevertheless, almost 85% of people voted for me. I still looked at this incident and looked subtly at how I understand the customers who did what they did. In general, he told me what suited me because the event was very ambiguous, and there were a lot of inconsistencies in it. There were people of Caucasian nationality who were caught. I also know that the United States stated that it was ISIS, and then ISIS itself seemed to take responsibility for all of this. But in the end it turned out that these ISIS members were from Tajikistan, which breaks the whole picture about ISIS as a whole. Well, they also moved towards the Ukrainian border. Many say that these people who were caught were fakes. In fact, they have already begun to put forward some versions of all this. In fact, the Russian special services and almost our president himself of my country in which I live gave the order to blow up this Crocus. In general, today we will figure it out. I will watch on thin live count and for you and say everything that goes to me and everything that I feel, which ones I will decipher and immediately dictate. So let's go. The first thing that just suits me is that this event is some kind of cyclical event. That is, as if this event is part of some cycle. If you watched I told a video about the Matrix there, what kind of cycles they are, how they are launched, and how certain structures they are. Very good. Like the Freemasons, Illuminati, and so on. They set events in motion using their matrices, this secret knowledge, and so on. Who haven't watched? Look, I won't go into details, but here you go for those who know. This is it. This is the launch. This is some kind of launch. And this launch, is like the launch of the 9/11 disaster. That is, it is very much similar in terms of the launch of the event to what happened with the twins. It's just the same flywheel. I want to say time flywheel, or how the same launch of something is not necessary. But here are some events that can then be exposed as something, that is, so that everything goes like clockwork, yes. So that the energy of this flywheel, then I shook up those events that they want to push into this flywheel about the trace. The trace hasn't changed. I just double-checked it hasn't changed. I specifically looked to see if Russia was involved in all of this. It doesn't suit me that Russia was launched. That's how it initially worked out for me, that it stretches from the USA. Now it's also on the map. It stretches right there, right here in the USA. You know what? It's very strange. Usually Kyoto, where these things they stretch from somewhere in Washington or something else, but now it's stretching to California. I can't understand what's going on. Well, that is like the White House, Washington. These are all these types of things. They are located well north, southwest, east. Yes, the eastern part of the USA. And this is where it goes. The trail goes to California. This is exactly the opposite. This is, well, part of the USA. This is exactly the west current. That is the mainland itself. I don't understand why it's there in California. I'm even interested. I'll take a look. Guys. And now I went to Google Maps for California, specifically, and saw that there are a lot of interesting places. For example, Death Valley. There's some kind of park. Death Valley is for me. I didn't like it very much, but there's something else there. You know what's the most interesting? And when I got caught, I discovered that the Bohemian Grove is located in California. I honestly didn't know. I didn't know that the Bohemian Grove was located in California. So it's clear here, because yes, these are the kind of launches they come from some such objects. Let's put it mildly. This means that the trail stretches from there. That is, it's a launch. It's no longer physical. It's a magical launch. It's a mass sacrifice. But I don't see that no one in Russia knew. Someone knew. But there's someone who belongs to these lodges, and they, too, were preparing something. That is, there were some accomplices on the territory of the Russian Federation. But I don't see that it's just that. You know how almost in the presidential administration, everything is located. No, these are some well, here are some well, small fry for the most part. That is, it's not justice. Someone, you know, the government there was aware of everything. The government organized it. No, it was a terrorist attack, and it was a hidden terrorist attack. That is, it was done behind the scenes. That is, it was done behind the scenes. It was done behind the back of the government of the Russian Federation and armed. It had been planned for a long time now. Well, it feels like 6 months are going on. For 6 months they needed an astronomical event. They were really looking forward to it. You know now, it's just in my head that everything that will happen comes to me. I will pronounce it very much interesting. Look at how it's going. Literally the other day, we celebrated a holiday about which I filmed the last video that was already released on the channel, by the way. I didn't say something about the mass burning of people since I'm talking here now. I'm also talking about it. And I also said something interesting about these burning dolls, yes. And in the video about Maslenitsa, when I was already preparing the video, it was already prepared. More precisely, I started looking for a picture on the main one. This one, to sign everything. When I started looking at these pictures, I was just in shock because, well, you begin to see the obvious. None of these pictures were the whole personification of something bad, but some kind of negativity of some kind of goddess of death. As someone say, well, this is the personification of this doll, personifying the goddess of death. She personifies the cold, winter, and so on. I look like that, and the doll is dressed in a red dress with flowers decorated. Yes, the flowers are so beautiful. She's wearing such a red handkerchief too, you know. I have the only association with this doll. This is a beauty girl, you know. They used to show her in a sundress in something like that. And everything is just a girl. Beauty. That beautiful girl who was. This woman is exactly this Slavic. Yes, in such patterned stylistic clothes which embodies something warm, bright nature. Because again, the decoration is a sundress, yes, decorated. With flowers, no image of winter there I don't see. No winter, no death, no cold, nothing. That is, what colors do we associate? Yes, with all this. Black, blue, and so on. Here there are just red flowers, and so on. And look how it's such a coincidence of a mismatch. Only we celebrated a holiday where people are burned en masse. Yes, dolls of people. And then and such an event happens where real people are already being burned in general, and it's really cool, and that's exactly what it has to do with it. Well, one thing after another comes. That is, I can tell you from myself, and what I now see on the subtle plane, I'm not exaggerating, I myself would like it to be untrue, but unfortunately, voice it. It's true. This is all a continuation of all that same ritual. Only here they didn't burn dolls, and to make it even more clear to you, I'll say this. Look in the USA. The difference is 12 hours. Who didn't know? That's what's most interesting in all of this. They committed this mass sacrifice. This is a mass burning. Yes, first a murder, then mass burning of people precisely on the date of March 21st. That is, they were waiting for this astronomical event. They were expecting this very much. They did this on March 21. Why do I say 21st? Although the whole terrorist attack happened on the 2nd. If you and I look at the time difference, it turns out that the astronomical date itself has not gone anywhere. Just like the equinox remains. They gathered strength, and they gathered the worldwide consent of people to all this. This is what will happen. Then, just over the course of a week, they begged for consent to all this, and then they carry out this terrorist attack with the full consent of people. This was already a physical sacrifice. I repeat once again, they didn't burn dolls, but real people, and by this they started repeating the matrix. So clear. So what's going on now is that, look now, some moments of pie. Confrontation had begun. I'm not talking specifically about our country right now, something that I want. Play black and white chess now. I'll say that. Now there's a real struggle going on. Old and new. That is, this is a struggle between those same light forces. Which, again, those who have been watching my channel for a long time know that here we have the whole world captured in essence. This is all that ancient, everything that was ancient, that was this. We are our civilization. These are those same souls who have now come here again and are trying to take back their world. Very many have woken up, very many. As it were, know this moment now. Tifu. You know, there are a lot of people who have woken up, so they are now trying to start the same cycle that they all started in the 15th century. That is, they are trying to launch this very cycle with the help of which they got rid of us thousands of years ago. This is by their standards. That is, once they have a channel, they now want to relaunch some kind of big, huge cycle there. It's like a meat grinder of some kind. Here they are. They want to start it up again, so that all these souls who have woken up, so that they again fall under this meat grinder, right into the meat grinder. They are there. Start it up again. Here it's even something that needs to be prevented. It must be prevented. They were waiting for this astronomical, very much not in vain. Even before the first day there were colossal attacks. I felt them too. On a subtle level, just the most terrible energies that day gathered everywhere. And it was all literally in the soul. They prepared very well for this. They prepared for this for a very long time. Well, about what's there? The people who did it were consumables. And I won't even say. But they were warned. Well, someone was warned after all. It suits me that our investigative committee, well, my country, yes, they knew that something was being planned. Because the USA, they initially said, and again, look, they confirmed, that is, they had a direct agreement. Back on March 7th, they sent a direct agreement that something would happen. That is, they warned. They directly said something was being prepared. Something would happen. Now we are dying. That is, that was all that was said. It was necessary to say the rules there some. That is, they needed to be informed about this. These are again the rules of form. Magic. That is, these are not rules of some kind that they really cared about someone, about people, or else these are the rules of magic. That is, they needed to say this in order for it to work. That is, it was done because of the rules of magic, so that the clock would work correctly, like a universal clock or something, so that everything would work correctly. They are limited by the rules. So again, I contact our security forces. They were warned, but they did not. They knew where there was a feeling that they had been wanted but didn't know where. And in the city there was some kind of high alert. That is, somehow, there were some special services, or someone, at all public events. That is, there were some people who were watching. That is, no longer just there, you know. some kind of security there. Alia. There's some kind of bars there. There's some kind of security where it's just, well, people who work as security guards. But there were just specialists. That is, some kind of special service was involved these days. There is not even just one day. But on days that lasted more than a week, they probably searched more than that. That is, there was a lot of operational work of some kind carried out throughout the whole city. In the whole city, they tried to ensure themselves. They tried to ensure themselves everywhere. They tried to ensure themselves. Well, that's why they didn't catch it in advance. Why? We're looking for, and they seem to know from the logs of invisibility. Here again the magic is coming. Forgive me, of course. Who's there in the hall? That's not magical, this is to watch but 100, according to some facts and something M. Well, there's a lot of magic coming right here. I myself would like it not to be so, but there is a lot of magic. It's as if these terrorists, these people, they were covered by some kind of curtain of invisibility, that is, as is. If they weren't seen in reality, that is, they could walk right here, I don't know, stumble about them and not to see them. So they were literally covered with something, like some kind of invisible tendo. This is in terms of magic for this too. Some kind of rituals were done, not by these people themselves, but by those who ordered all. This whole performance is those who performed this ritual, those who prepared the ritual. So they threw this screen over them, and you know where the screen is coming from. But the screen is not coming from the USA. The screen is coming from somewhere here, from the southern part of Europe. Right, red. Such a screen of invisibility shelves this, yes, shelf. So protective. The phrase comes from God. Save the king. Perhaps from the Vatican, not confidently, but perhaps from the Vatican, this threshold of some kind stretches out to some kind of invisibility, as if someone gave them a blessing, as if here they are, a blessing. They received some kind of action for this, even how they were anointed for this action, how they blessed them. They anointed them for this action. They covered them with curtains so that they could do this, but in principle they were immediately prepared for the fact that they would be on death row. That is, well, like under death, as they say. No one was going to save them there, although initially it felt like they didn't want them. Well, if they dating were caught alive, it wasn't unprofitable, no. Though, they shouldn't have been taken alive. They had to die. No one was going to leave them alive. Even if there were any, the escape routes, well, what if these are the same ones that go through Brian's skull? Oh well, I'll look at this now. Later, even if someone prepared some escape routes for them, or so that they would leave from there, yes, they've all left this territory for only one purpose. Posthumously, there is, so that they would be met and Makaziros. It's just that they were all originally a suicide bomber. No one us going to pay them anything at all. Well, just us. Soak up the whole sun, but still, you know what they were waiting for, because it was possible, and it is, that they were waiting for them at the border. Somewhere they were waiting somewhere. On the border where they were promised that they would be remelted or crossed somewhere shorter. Either they had to swim across some river or cross over something. Well, it's as if they had to cross. Some they were supposed to be thrown across the border. That is, there, some kind of agreement. But in fact, no one was going to cross them. They were going to kill her. But those who wanted to kill them, after all, they were, well, for some reason they were very afraid to enter the territory of the Russian Federation, but for some reason, they didn't count on the fact that they would survive at all. Now, I'm really interested in whether these Tajiks were fake or not. I can say one thing: they went to Tito, you know. These weren't someone simple builders there who pecked at Putin's castles somewhere. There they tell all sorts of interesting channels. These were some people who were already involved in recidivism, that is, such repeat offenders. Thieves, bandits, you know, who robbed people. That is, who really killed, that is, they could, I don't know, just kill for cats, roughly speaking. on some of those who, and so I made money from this, and, I have the feeling that they had done something before. That is, they worked for someone. That is, these were not random people after all. I mean those who, that's how it's correctly called, they were recruited there. So it turns out they had already fulfilled similar orders for someone, but the armed forces still had an intermediary, some kind of intermediary, through whom they worked. That is, who gave them orders or something like that, who already knew them. That is, there is some kind of criminal group there and so on. It was not the left, some guys there, who were still sitting today. Such walls of liver, they pecked there, and tomorrow they decided that we shouldn't shoot people in the Crocus. That is, no, it wasn't like that. That is, it was some kind of original criminal group, that is, people according to the concepts of some kind of people. This is it. There are ways out. Even when I was watching the situation with Maslenitsa, it was clear to me that there were ways out of some prison authorities or some criminal elements. Those who ordered, and that's all too. There were threads with the USA, of course, and that's what they have some kind of... That's exactly what it has to do with the bandits. The kind of bandits who sell drugs and sell weapons, that's something. Well, just like that. That's right, Mafia. Yes, some kind of... And, these were small fry, really small. Well, it's as if they were, well, almost they really weren't. Grandmother's there for a wallet just like this. These are some small ones. Not burglars, but just like that. Some small repeat offenders, they very directly decided, well, there are some like that. You can just, dump them like that, and use it somehow. And use... Someone got good money for this, for coming out well. They were offered, but they were, somehow, don't care. They told the other person all this. Well, that is, here's the original plan that was, yes. And how they provided this plan to them. Well, it was two completely different plans, conditionally, because they were also deceived, but not in the sense that they were deceived. But they were told that you really survive there? Yes, that we will take you out there, and so on. That is, they were not told directly that you would go there and then we would shoot you. That is, that you are consumables there. No, they weren't told that. But that's how it was. And now let's see, the cover was very good. That is, they were covered very well. Also, and there was more than one person there. Not only this group participated in doing all this there, but also some people of European appearance. Let's say there were, they're either from Russia, or I don't know, they're from Ukraine, or here's someone here, well, some of our conditional appearance. But I won't say what state it is from, or something, well, that is, ethnicity, well, it was also ours, that is, not from Tajikistan, or somehow, just like that. The armed forces organized for them. No, the performers just stupidly come in and shoot, and that's it. But there were some others, some that that's all. They did it there. I don't know, the car drove up, yes. Everything is there. Just go in and do it, that is. But the whole plan is organized there. Everything. Some other people did it. By the way, some of them have already been arrested, well, It's also so interesting, but these are the people who organized all this. But here they are. I want to say, like the special services. That is, even they may not even have a special service, but some kind of whole military bearing, that is. They, as if there were someone specially hired for some special cases. That is, perhaps these are agents too. Well, I won't say now. But I don't think that this is the special service of the Russian Federation. And again, that there are some roots going back to the government of the Russian Federation, which decided to set fire to this Crocus. No, there's just some kind of agency here. Some agents, most likely intelligence or something. I don't know well. That is, like these are the people who are being imprisoned there somewhere else. They're infiltrating, let's say so. That is, this some most likely intelligence agents. Or James Bond special agents, the kind, well. They have this very, very military bearing, and they know how to do some complex things like this. They prepared machine guns for their hands. They were given just that. That is, perhaps some kind of bookmark. That's exactly where they made this one, where they then got this weapon. That is, this is how they are some kind of curators. But they are not customers again. They are just curators. And now about the vile guys. When? These are people, if you can put it that way, from a weapon. Burst into Crocus. There were our special services. Special services, yes, already government ones. And the most interesting thing here is that they acted according to some kind of instructions, and there was some kind of production. I don't know what kind of production this is, like some kind of show. I do. You know the stage show that was played for. These are the ones who were with machine guns. That is, you know, I won't swear, please, but it feels like they were allowed to do this thing and didn't do anything. Forgive me, it's as if they were allowed to do what they were doing, and then they were taken somewhere. They watched behind them, that is, they were caught on a hook. And they just had to follow them about the lives of people. There was no talk there. That is, the special forces. They did not have a task to do something to save people. That is, they had another task that did not clearly carry out this such a cold-blooded, cynical task was that I don't even want to describe it all. To be honest with me, the whole pounding of me right now. I'm trembling all over. Even my voice is trembling. And everything inside is trembling, and I don't like it all so much at this time, because these energies are so vile. But now we are entering the territory where human life is. Well, it's worth nothing. These damn horseshoe games are generally vile to me. I don't like them. They had to carry them out each school. That's what the matter was. They needed to carry them out. There was no task to take them right away. There was no task to stop them. There was no task. The task was to lead them through and lead them through. I mean not the building itself. Yes, there was something like that, no. To hold them means to let them do the job, let them leave, and follow. Where will they go? What will they go do next? And where will they run? And so on. This is it. But the task was to take them alive. Therefore, I think that they were led to the border with this. Yes, that's the border there. They practically led them through. And after that detained? I don't see that. These are some kind of fake terrorists. They're just the perpetrators, and those who detained them knew perfectly well about this. All the special forces knew that it was just that. Well, it's just the perpetrators who did what? They were told for money. Many also described it, and they said something like that. There was a living place on them. Many people associate all this with the fact that these people just, well, like they confessed under torture or something like that. But there's such a feeling there. There's no need to prove anything. But that it was them is another matter. That they're here specifically for meat. They turned it right here like this. They turned it into meat, so that this would be this was specially done, and this was an order. Some kind of dressing up from the very, very top. Here the order was from the very, very top inwards. Can't say who gave it, I just don't even want to. Look, but it was the most direct, very conscious order, so that there would be no living space left on them, and show them right here to the whole world, so that right here from them, well, I don't know, they're pieces of meat and half animals, and show it to the whole world. And just like that, right in front of your face, look what will happen. Like, look what will happen to you if you try to stick your head here. That is, you won't even be allowed to die by turning this piece of meat that's barely alive, and it's like here, you know. The feeling was that the message was not even just to some people. Well, I don't know foreign people. but people who can come here to do something. But those inside the country are on this. I'm serious about this. Because, well, it's disgusting to watch it all. I can't say what I can say from everything that I just watched, probably. Several physical events. How much is the beginning of the video? Yes, I want to return everyone who listened to the end to the beginning of the events. This is that magic was carried out. That a mass sacrifice was carried out. A burning ritual. Yes, there are not many people alive. There were shot, no matter how much this is. And how much is this? Moment of burning people alive. So here are the guys, and what can I say for those who still live in magical fantasies? I can say that in the past, and in 2018, who remembers all this, there was a terrible tragedy in the winter cherry tree, where a huge number of people were burned alive on March 25th, exactly after those very massive burnings of effigies. And it was not a coincidence on the 18th of the cherry now. Crocus, so that you understand who was the owner of the cherry. This is a billionaire who now does not live in Russia, and who has nothing to do with Russia, as now he is a citizen of Australia. And you know, for some reason it seems to me that he has a very, very good relationship with the Freemasons. I really looked at him back then, and there was all this fuss and so on. There we saw ritual cherries, a whole bunch of fathoms. Yes, that was a big ritual. Many talked about it. Get out of illusions, get out of matrix programs. Stop supporting, that's all. First be happy that they are burning dolls, and then cry on the graves of real people. Stop doing this. Stop supporting this matrix. Stop supporting these the rituals, because they are all done with your consent, on your energy. After they massively collect your consent for these rituals, to carry out these mass burnings of people, they do it physically, and you must now also realize and understand there is nothing accidental in all of this. You see, there is a certain pattern that has been monitored for many years, and this is a ritual. This is a massive one, and this is what they launched now. I think it's even worse than cherries. Something they cooked really well. There's something they really want. It's good to expand that. It all needs to be broken. This whole ritual, everything that they set up there, all the frameworks that they set up for this ritual need to be broken, and broken very, very quickly, guys. This is what I can tell you. In this whole situation about what came to me, Crocus and I wish everyone all the best. And the best. I love you. All I hug your Nadezhda. Sunny, bye-bye. And I remind you that each of you can help ensure that as many people as possible can wake up and begin to throw off all the shackles that were imposed on them from the outside. For this, you do need much. You just need to help awakening information become more accessible to the majority, so that everyone who needs it can see and notice it. To do this, you just need to like this video and write a comment, so that it gets into the list of recommended ones, and as many people as possible can see it and decide for themselves whether they need this information or not. But undoubtedly, this will allow many to make their choice by stepping towards awakening, where further on, everything will depend only on them. Music themselves.